Yeah, I'll do sound check. So participants, if you can hear us clearly, please raise your hand so that we know that you can hear us. Okay, and yeah, okay. Thank you, participants. You can lower your hands now. So again, welcome you all to another webinar as part of the CIIC webinar series. So today's webinar is about working remote and getting started with Zoho One. So it's all about Indian-made company, and they'll be talking about a much-needed thing which has been happening for almost over 60 days now, and probably will become in the future norm. So before we move into the session, I would want to give a brief introduction about CISC and about our speaker for the day. So CISC is Crescent Innovation and Incubation Council. We are an incubator based out of Crescent University in Chennai. Currently, we have 36 startups incubated at our facility, and out of which our major thrust areas are life sciences and industry 4.0. So we're supporting actively the startups in these two spaces. Apart from that, as part of our future initiatives, we're supporting 21 student startups as well. So the next gen entrepreneurs are also being included as part of our cohort. In terms of funding, we've helped our startups raise upwards of 70 lakh rupees in terms of government grants, and also rupees 39 crores in terms of venture capital and private equity. Moving on, I'm very happy to introduce our speaker for the day, Ms. Kuppulakshmi, who is the global head for Zoho for startups and Zoho One. So just a short introduction. Kuppulakshmi is fondly known as Kuppu in the complete ecosystem. She heads the Zoho for Startups program globally. She's been part of the Zoho's growth story for about a decade now, which is a considerable part of the company as such. She has been bridging the gap between business and technology, which is her primary core area of focus. She also focuses on strategic alliances between Zoho and various startup bodies, such as the state government, incubators, accelerators, and various other stakeholders in the ecosystem. She's also a very active volunteer with various socially impacting projects, and is the chief trainer and mentor for Project Putri, which intends to empower over 10,000 girl children from the underprivileged background every year. So I appreciate for your efforts and contribution towards the ecosystem. Moving on to session. Over to you, Kuppulakshmi.
Thank you so much for the introduction. And hello, everyone. Good evening. On a Monday, thank you so much for setting aside time to come and join us today in this conversation. Before we start, just a few quick reminders, when we do a webinar like this, feel free to ask us any questions. Today, along with me, I have two other teammates of mine, Bronson and Kushmita. And today we are very delighted to be doing this webinar with CIIC. You know, they are one of the most active collaborators of ours who've been doing incredible work. And we're very happy to associate with these people who are very intentional, and they serve the startup world truly with the idea that you have to be useful. You bring in all the knowledge to one platform. So today I'm thankful to them to give this opportunity to us to talk to all of you. And a sincere thank you to all of you to have set aside the time and join us this evening. So to make good use of the time, please use the chat section and ask us questions. And while I am talking, my teammates will be looking at the question. And when they take over, I will switch to the chat mode, and it'll be our pleasure to answer some of your questions today. The agenda today, as you see, is we'll talk about working remote, the topic that is most talked about now. And we'll also, in that context, talk about technology and how you can use many of Zoho's tools for communication or collaboration to basically work remote when you have geographically distributed teams now. As we speak, there's one request is we're going to keep the agenda as basic as possible, because the idea is to not sell Zoho, but to understand how technology works or not works in the idea of working remote. Okay, with that, I'm very, very happy that today, along with CIIC, we have BIRAC and Bionest, and also the Institution's Innovation Council joining us. These are the ecosystem that strengthen the hope that India is not very far behind in creating those successful entrepreneurs who will disrupt with their innovations. So with that, on behalf of my team and on behalf of every one of us at Zoho, I wish you all the best. I wish you all positivity and enough strength to see through this difficult phase. All right. So with that, these are my team members, Ronson and Kushmita. Ronson specializes in conducting workshops and speaking with the entrepreneurs to know how they have been adopting many of Zoho's apps. Kushmita helps us a lot with a lot of logistics side of running the startup program, one of the most important pillars, I would say. So both of them help us in running the program where we've launched this program, say, for 2.5 to 3 years now, since the launch of Zoho One. But Zoho has been around for more than 25, 26 years now. So let's see in the next few minutes how the pandemic, COVID-19, has changed the work setting for us and how technology can help or not help in setting the remote context right. Okay, so ask away your questions, because if you keep thinking I'll ask it at the end of the webinar, poof, it just vanishes, we forget. So keep asking questions, silly or not silly, simple or complex, keep them coming. If we know the answers, we'll give you sincere, honest, straightforward ones. If we don't know any answers, we'll go back, do our homework and come back and give you the right answers. Because we have 45 plus apps, you never know which feature was born now, even as we were speaking, okay? So it's quite interesting to see now when we are looking at the world. We used to boast about, oh, you can work from anywhere, or you can travel, you can just take your laptop or your mobile phone, travel to whatever corner of the world, and then you can do work from literally wherever you are. Just map your location. To it's gone from you can work from anywhere to please can you work from wherever you are, right? Do not travel, do not look at conducting events, do not look at rescheduling events. So I used to travel extensively, and for me, I realized how much the calendar has changed, how many laundry bags have been saved, how many virtual meetings and WhatsApp and Facebook and the information and questions and the number of people reaching out, it's just scattered everywhere, right? So it could bring about a feeling for each of us, irrespective of where we are in the hierarchy of an organization, irrespective of the role that we do, whether we are a fresh graduate who's just joined the workforce or people who have been experienced for a while. It's been quite overwhelming to see, oh, we thought working from home was always, a nice imaginary situation. But when it was presented to us, look where we are. We're perpetually busy, not knowing where to draw the line between home and between work. So practically when everyone has been forced to work from home, different kinds of personalities, whether you're an extrovert or an introvert or somewhere between like me, I call myself an ambivert. So all kinds of people have been forced to work from remote. In fact, in Zoho, what we did is the minute we realized this is going to be a widespread one, early March, 8,000 of us in Zoho, geographically distributed, we all moved to working remote in about 3 days, because you know how we work from Chennai, majority of us in Zoho, and we've seen Cyclone Varda, we've seen the floods the year before. Somehow our business continuity practices were in place. Somehow we realized how it is important for Zoho to run on Zoho by using many of our apps. But what is really new to us now has been, we're still figuring out how we each of us work from home when no 2 days look the same. It feels like, we've been in this forever, which once again underlines the most important fact of how when each of us pick technology in our hands, when each of us try to merge work chores and work, office chores together and figure out how in a 24 hours time we are going to make use of ourselves, useful to our family members and useful to the rest of the colleagues, right? So when we look into that direction, my team and I, we have been talking a lot about how technology has been used by people. There are several articles out there that talk about the top 10 remote tips How do you stay focused on work? How do you make your priority list? How do you get work done with your colleagues and all of that? The more you look into the layers of how these people work, people around us, people like me and you, when they pick technology, it feels like it is the Spider-Man's cloak. Meaning, remember Peter Parker? When there was the original Spider-Man suit that he used to wear, he was this neighborhood-friendly Spider-Man solving problem. Though as Peter Parker, he was as insignificant as any of us. But the minute you pick technology, the powerful suit that you can wear, it brings to the fore your leadership style. If you are a startup an entrepreneur, a startup founder, it brings to the fore your unique leadership style where many of us always focus on culture, right? How do we think of ourselves when we pick these technology, these apps in our hands? Do we focus equally on ethics? What I mean is, it's a famous debate out there where technology is the boon or bane. When you work remote now, the boon has always been, oh, it is flexible work hours. I can wake up at 5 in the morning. I can write a brilliant marketing campaign when the world is not up, no disturbance. And I can just log off, go watch a movie for a couple of hours and then come back. That's how our imagination was. But really, the bane has been, do I even get to go home? The concept of, when do I go home? It's just next room from my office, wherever my home office is, to where the living room is, where I can unwind for the day. So there's no really a line now that I'm able to see, we are able to draw saying, okay, 6 o'clock in the evening or 7 o'clock in the evening, I'm done with work. And that is more pronounced if you're people like us who have immersed yourself in a bunch of cloud apps and have always been blowing the trumpet of, you can work anytime, you can work from anywhere, right? So that is one of the boons and banes. The next, if you see, when I talk about leadership styles and when I talk about apps, you take email on one hand and you take chat on the other hand, or phone calls on the other hand. You can simply exchange these two. A bane will, in no time, if you use it well, is actually a gift, and emails in no time can become a bane. A little example here is, we see a lot of organizations who were very conservative, who were very strictly hierarchical, where you had to stand outside a cabin of your manager, wait for the manager to look at you and say, come in. And then you talk about granting permission to go home, or coming up leave that you have to take for some family function. Imagine the leadership style that comes to the fore when those conversations now in the remote setting that have to be done via a phone call is being recorded as emails that are being held against you, saying, oh, you do not show up to work at this time. I cannot see you through my video call. Where were you for the half an hour? You were not sitting in front of the camera. And there are times when all you have to do is pick up a phone call, pick up the phone and call your colleague and ask, hey, is everything all right? I've not been seeing you online for a while. Or last week, we didn't really do anything productive. With the mental health in the picture, with every other area becoming, a strictly prohibited zone, a containment zone, it is very important to understand your mindset. It is very important to set the culture and ethics very early in the entrepreneurial stage, very right, for you to be able to hire the right kind of people, sustain them, so that tomorrow when you serve your customers, they also do a job as passionate as the founding team of a startup. So it is very important to understand, when we was sitting across each other, when we were seeing each other face to face, it is so easy to know from the body language if you cared for your team members. To just look at the body language and say, hey, you seem not all right, what is wrong with you? But now, if you're going to switch on a remote camera, for example, and use meeting all the time just to check, it's going to be a boon or a bane. There are people I know who use this remote video call facility in a meeting app, because They don't want to feel lonely. It feels very good when your colleague is, you're able to see your colleague as you work. So you switch on the video camera and say, okay, for the next 1 hour, can we just be there for each other so that the feeling of loneliness goes away? Maybe virtually I'm able to see you. It can be used as a boon. There are several companies that are in the news for bad reasons, where there are managers who want to literally control their team members, who want to know why they are not even dressed up for work, even when they're working from home. So when we talk about all of this, it is very important to talk about culture as much as you want to talk about ethics. Because from the beginning, we see a lot of startup founders talking about transparent culture, saying that there's no hierarchy, saying that we are so agile because we believe in wearing the carpet. We believe in going to the head of marketing and talking, because it's a small team size. Very easy, possible to work from a very small office when you're just 10 members in size. But now when you're going to grow bigger, how are you going to use technology? How are you going to blend your mindset and your work ethics, your leadership style to using the right pieces of technology? Nobody's going to make a decision of buying a new software now. That's not where your funds are going to be. We know that very well as someone who's been in the software as a service industry. However, now is the time when a lot of startups are going to work on idea. They're going to work on idea to a proof of concept. They're going to work on a proof of concept stage to see how I'm going to create an MVP that will be ready for a post-COVID era. Today, in a few minutes, I'm going to hand over the stage to two of my teammates who are going to relate to the story I told you right now: technology, humans, a pandemic, and your leadership style all in this picture. How, in this mindset, remote mindset, are you going to look at each of these communication, collaboration apps, customer digital marketing strategy, or your email campaign, or when you're hiring for a post-COVID era? How do we want you to wear the right Spider-Man suit and take on technology in a true leader style? Because we believe that technology is only as powerful as the humans who are making it, and it is only as powerful as the humans who are using it. With that, I will invite Ronson and Kushmita to take over the stage from me, and I'm going to still be present on mute mode, okay? So if you have any questions, if you want to have any conversations on this, I'll be happy to help. I'll be happy to share from many pages of my experience. Ronson and Kushmita, over to you guys.
Yes, Kupu, sure.
Thank you, Kupu.
You're welcome.
Just a second. I'm so sorry, guys.
That's on my screen, right?
That isn't. This is my screen, Kupu.
Okay. I'm trying to control it. So, yeah.
All right. So, hi, everybody. I hope every one of you, you're safe at home, considering what's happening here in Chennai and in the other parts of India. We would like to first wish you all the very best with the current situation and hope that we all come over this stronger. So in that note, I'll just talk a little about Zoho and what Zoho has done in the last 24 years. So I'll tell you why it's important that we always do this. For some of you might have already heard it before, but we would like to tell you this. We'd like to say the story, 100 times if I have to, is because we were a bootstrap startup ourselves. And, being a bootstrap startup for 24 years, we have over 8,000 employees now who's helped us build 45 plus applications over the years. And we've set a footprint in over 180 countries, and we have over 15 million users. So if Zoho can do it, every startup, I think, with the right mindset and making the right moves, I think 24 years from now, we would see hundreds of you actually saying the same story. And I wish that that day comes for each and every one of you here. So I'm going to start with the good news. For those who haven't heard, we provide technology for the startup world. So I'm going to give you, I'll let Kushmita give you the numbers, but I'm just going to talk to you about what the offer is. So we offer Zoho One for free for 1 full year for the startup ecosystem. Now we have a couple of clauses here and there, but then, we'll talk about that later. Now, when you look at this picture, I hope everyone can see my screen, right? I tend to do this a lot, guys. Everyone's human, and then you make this error of everything is new. You start working from home before you sit in front of an audience and then talk to them, and your screen is working at the background. There's a presentation happening, but now you're doing it from home. And I think a couple of times I didn't even have my screen up, but I just kept talking. So I'm just asking everyone, you can see my screen now, right?
Yes.
Yes, Johnson.
Awesome. So you're looking at this picture here. You see a lot of logos that's coming out of a box. Now all these logos are actually applications that if you ask me, I've been working here for 2 years now. I wouldn't be able to give you maybe I could tell you what the applications are, the name of the applications, but I wouldn't know the nitty-gritty, the nuts and bolts of each of these applications working in the system. Now, sitting on your end and viewing this screen where you have so many applications there, I'm just trying to connect the dots here. What we are going to do in the next 20 to 25 minutes is to tell you that, we are there for you, number one. And we're going to give you a step-by-step instruction of how you can easily adapt to using Zoho One, a few tips of how you can start using Zoho One. So to start with, as a startup, I think, you have to pick up applications from the Zoho One platform. You could start choosing this business segment wise. The picture that you're looking at is sales, marketing. Let's say you want to start picking up applications for your sales or your marketing. I think you can get started there by looking at picking up applications from these 45 applications to what your immediate need is. Be it an early stage startup who needs to build a website to start with. You have Zoho sites to help you with that. Now you want to look at how your brand is performing on social media. We have applications to help you with social media. So likewise, the first step is for you to start picking up applications based on the business function or based on what you are looking at fulfilling, be it sales, marketing, finance, or support. So that's the first tip we wanted to give you. Now we have applications for every business segment. Now the best thing about these business segments is, you would like these business segments to work like this. Some of us, what we do is, we think, let me say this first. We think Zoho One would be the app software for a startup for several reasons. And just to give you a few reasons at the top of my head, one is, as a startup, you need something that can help you save time, resources, and also money, correct? Now, if you want to buy software from individual vendors, first you'd have to have a resource to evaluate which of these softwares in the market work for you. And then you'd have to go ahead and remember multiple logins and passwords. You'll be building different billing cycles, fill out different invoices. And most importantly, there is no integration between one software to the other. There's no connection between them. Now, just the pictures that we've kept here, just to show you how you'd like integration to work. But if you'd like to integrate two applications, say marketing and sales, this is how it would look. And let's say you want to integrate multiple applications. Let's not even get there. Yeah. So as I mentioned, we think Zoho One is the right software for you is because you'll have one account, you'll have only one invoice to fill, you'll have one support team supporting you with all the applications, and you'll have all this under one operating system. Now, we can tell you that there's no other, we're not selling the software, but we can tell you proudly that there's no other integrated package that, that's there in the market like Zoho One right now. Now, I've got a very funny picture, and I'll just talk a little about this, and then we can move on to the steps for you to actually pick up Zoho One easily. I'll hand this over to Kushmita, and then we'll take it forward. So what you're looking at right now is just an example I'm sure you can relate to, where somebody is trying to sell you land, and you find boards telling you how far the railway station is, 2 kilometers to the bus stop, 1 kilometer to the nearest supermarket. They give you all these they give you all these terms so that you to attract you to buy the land. Now, software also, all the software companies also do the same. So we, as software companies, try to tell you that this is there and that is there. But what we'd like to do differently is to show you how software works for you, and especially being a startup where you like to start off and scale up, where you set up with 5 to 10 people, and you have an idea, and then you start off by having a marketing team or a sales team, and then you scale up when you have the whole workflow there, and you need software to help you. Hence, this 1 year's free credits for startups will be a good lean back for them to understand how technology can grow with you as you set up, start off, and scale up. Having said that, I'm going to have Kushmita talk to you a little about what Zoho for Startups has done in the past, and I'll take over in showing you how a dashboard looks, where you can just access all these applications from one place. Kushmita?
Yes, Ronson, thank you. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
I'm just gonna show my face to the world for a few minutes and then switch back to the audio if that's okay.
Totally okay. Yeah.
Thank you. So good evening, one and all. I am Kushmita. I work as an evangelist for Zoho for Startups. So I'm just gonna switch to the audio mode for some time. Yeah, so I'm going to talk a little about our program, which is Zoho for Startups. So this program was launched, in 2017. We have worked hard so that, we could provide technology for at least 3,000 plus startups now. On an average, we have provided 30,000 plus licenses so far. Now let us show you the 3 important steps on how to get started with Zoho One. As Ronson was saying, these 3 steps would be, a helpful tip for you to how to reach out to us, how to get started with Zoho One. Yeah, so first step is to, reach out to us via the Spock from CIIC. I guess that would be Parvez. All you have to do is fill a simple form. We'll be providing you a unique link so that you can use that link to, fill in your name, company name, your phone number, email address, and we will get notified. You'll also receive a welcome email where you have all the steps.
Sorry.
And sorry.
That's okay.
I'll go on.
Yes.
Yeah. So using that link, you will be able to create a Zoho One trial account, a 30-day free trial. Once you do that, can you change the slide, Ronson?
Sure.
Once you create a Zoho One trial account, you can reach out to us using the email address info@zohoforstartups.com. We'll also put, share the email address on the chat. Ronson will be able to put that on the chat.
Sure.
So you can reach out to us using the email address, and we will be more than happy to guide you with the other steps. So step 2 would be to meet the concierge team. So concierge team is similar to that. Similar to the concierge desk that you would have noticed at a hotel. All you have to do is fill in the form with all your details and right time to reach out to you so that one of our colleagues will get in touch with you, suggest application based on the business vertical you are in. So Ronson will show you how to go about, how to go and check for the concierge form, or how to get started in the step 3. So with that, I would like all of you to keep the 3 important points that I'm going to show you now. First is to first is that right time. What is the right time to reach out to us? When is the right time you can reach out to us so that you get the Zoho One credits? So we would suggest you to get in touch with us when you are ready, when you have a team in place, when you have a product or service in place. So with that, I would like to inform you that there won't be, extension or any special discount post 1 year. So the offer that we provide is Zoho One free for 1 year. But the good news here is, if you want to pause the credits and resume it later, you can do that. We'll be more than happy to do that for you. Let's say you have started the trial and we have given you the 1 year free credits and you have started using it. If you want to let's say you want to stop the credits, you don't want to use the application now, you
Krishmita, can you hear us?
I think we lost your audio. Am I audible, Ronson, to you?
Yes, you are. Yes.
you want some time to with that. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, Krishmita. I think the
Yes, it's fine.
third point. Yeah, no
uh,
problem. Go on. Yes, we can hear you.
I'll start over.
Yes, please, please.
Yes.
I think we would need you to repeat what you said in the last few seconds alone.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the third point here is, if you want to stop the credits and resume it later, you just have to reach out to us with the reason why you want to pause the credits, and we'll be more than happy to do so. So with that, Ronson will be showing you how to, how you can never get lost by, just visiting our Zoho One website. You have the concierge form, you have, the pricing, you have all the resources so that you can never get lost. Ronson, over to you.
Sure. Just 1 second. Okay. So before I could take you to the website, I would like to talk a little about how your screens, how easy it is, how informative, what information you get when you log into a Zoho One, to your Zoho One account. Right now, I've got a demo account that's opened. So you get a username and a password after you actually create a trial account. And when you log in, this is the first screen that you'd look at. Now here, I've already added a few of the applications that we tend to use for this demo account. And you'll be able to see the same thing after you add your applications. I'm going to show you that a little later. We're going to move on to the 4 tabs that you see on the left-hand corner of the screen, which is the Zia search. Now, Zia is the AI feature that Zoho has built for itself. And you get the Zia search along with the Zoho One platform too. Now, being in the dashboard, in the Zoho One dashboard, if you go to Zia search, this is a universal search. You can look at anything from a person's name, from the organization, an email address. And when you just search that, click that to search that there, you have applications here that you could use, like people, click, different Zoho applications. So every conversation that the person has had, or any interaction that the person has had on every application, will actually you'll be able to actually pull that up using Zia search. And another awesome thing is the analytics dashboard. Now, if you're looking at this here, you have 500 more than 500 pre-built dashboards that you can use. For example, your salesperson's performance, what your predicted revenue is. You have the leads overview, the last 30-day trend. So we have pre-built reports that you can use under analytics. And last but not least is your admin panel. Now, under the admin panel, and most importantly, before as it slows, I'd like to say that this admin panel is specific to the super admin. So you as a super admin, you as a CEO, or you have somebody who is the CTO of your company who would be managing this dashboard can see all this. So this dashboard talks about how many users are there. If you look at it, how many applications are used, how many groups, like it could be split into groups like marketing, sales, finance, so how many groups you split them up to. You have the username and how long they've last logged into, which is the location that they logged into, what are the apps and how many times they log into the apps. Yeah, you can see everything in detail right from the dashboard. Then you can move on to the applications. Here you can see under each application how many members you've added, be it analytics or SS or any of these applications. How many members you've added. Then how to add users. You can add users right from here. You just need to click on the plus add user, the add user symbol right on the right hand corner of the screen, and you can add a user right from here, and you can give them access of whatever you want to do. So here is the admins. So here you see the owner of this is a super admin, which is me predominantly, the email address that I created. But then you can have service admins. You can give admin rights for people with, let's say I've given an admin right to backstage to somebody, right? To click, I've made somebody else an admin. So similarly, you can make everyone admins. I spoke about groups some time ago. These are the 8 groups that we have. Very importantly, security. Zoho we take our security really, really seriously. You can add security policies where, I'll start from the simplest one, where your employees have to change their password every 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. You can make that a mandate. Number 2, and very, very importantly, when you're using Zoho Books, a finance app, here you have bank account details and all that there. So you need to keep that safe. So you can IP restrict those particular applications. For example, you can IP restrict computers from your office belonging to a separate individual, where they can access that application only from that IP address. So like this security policies, you can create a lot of security policies. Now, this is just we don't want to get into the nitty gritty or the nuts and bolts of it. We'd like to take this segment wise. So I'm going to show you as an expert where you can never get lost if you want to use, or you want to know more about Zoho One. You can just go to the website, zoho.com/one. There you go. This is the Zoho One website. Now, Kushmita was talking to you about step 1 and step 2, correct? So step 2, I think, is something that you can do right from here. Here's the concierge link on the right-hand corner of your screen. You just need to fill in a simple form and click on submit. I don't want to repeat the whole thing, but you will receive one quick moment. So you will receive a call from the concierge team, a member from the concierge team, who will help you pick the right applications based on your business story. Now, if you want to learn about the application, for you admins, the super admins out there, if you want to know how to set up and manage a Zoho One account, you just need to click on the learn more option. You click on resources, and the first guide, the admin guide, is for you. Now we have a single sign-on guide where, I've had this. Let me give you an example. I've had startups or customers actually call me saying, I'm trying to access Zoho CRM. Yeah. And I'm not able to access it under my Zoho One dashboard. Now, what has happened is, instead of you signing into Zoho One, where it's a one place, a single sign-in place where you have all your applications, some of them use the individual app and move out of the Zoho One and do the same thing. So to help you with all these, to answer all these questions, you have a guide for that. You have webinars for you to understand how marketing applications under Zoho One works, or the sales application under Zoho One works. You can also sign up for the upcoming webinars. You have seminars. You can sign up for the upcoming seminars that's going to happen on Zoho One. You have FAQs. Let's say you have a technical issue and you want that resolved. You can always click on Learn More here and submit your request, where our support team will get back to you. Yeah. You have an integrations guide, which will also help you to understand how you can integrate a Zoho One account with an existing Microsoft account or a Google account. And just to tell you, just to give you a hint here, we have built over 45 plus applications in the last 24 years. Now, and we're willing to build more of these applications. Now, for you to know what are the new features or what we've added, or if we've added any of these applications to the Zoho One belt, you just have to click on the Learn More option, and you'll know what's new. What new applications we have, or what new features we've added to the existing applications. Apart from that, we have an overview sheet. We have solutions. We've always been transparent about our pricing. You can have anything that you need right from the website itself. Now, I don't want this session to, we don't want to get into the session where we talk a lot about Zoho's apps. We would love to do that, where we talk to you about segments and how, what applications come under the segments. We'd love to do that, but we'll do that in the near future. If you have your questions, we'd love to open it up to questions now. You can jot down your questions there, and we can take them one at a time.
So Ronson, I have just one request.
Yes, Kuppul.
Say, I'm not from a tech background, right? Many of us in the team are not. Yes. In fact, many of our colleagues are not exactly someone who's got certified from a latest computer science institute. Can you tell us how, when I don't know technology terms, as someone who wants to start a business, how to approach Zoho and understand what exactly are we selling? What is, how do I approach if I don't know the terminologies of the tech world?
Okay. So it's just like me. I mean, I'm going to just talk about me first, Kuppul. So I, like Kuppul said, she's not from a technical background. And I too, I'm a BA literature graduate. I never ever thought that I will make it here. Let me give you an example of how I learned technology. See, it's very important for you to be curious. You need to be curious to understand how this technology works, because as big as we think it is, it's actually really, really small. It's simplified over the years, and it's going to be even more simpler in the time to come, in times to come. So the first thing that I learned to do was to build a website using Zoho Sites. And I'll tell you how. So when a colleague told me that you can build a website and you don't need to know coding to do that. Now, for many of you out there, I'm sure you'll relate when somebody tells you, do you know to code? I'm sweating right now when I even think of that. So that was the first thing that I thought of. And, coding, if I don't know to code, I can build a website. Come on, there's no chance you can do that. So then I just simply, tried it. I got a trial account of Zoho Sites, kept looking at drag and drop features. I keep calling it the names that I like. And it's also, if you really think about it, it's similar to the names that are given to it. It's so similar to the feature. You drag and drop components. It's really simple. And to my astonishment, I was able to go ahead and build a website within 60 minutes. Now, if you have content with you, you can still build a website using Zoho Sites in simply 60 minutes. Now, Kupu, I think I've answered half your question.
Yeah, I also would encourage you to finish it off with showing Zoho.com, okay, where we have purposefully segmented apps, right?
Yes.
Instead of, a lot of times we ourselves don't know. If you run a quiz within ourselves, will we be able to match many of our logos with our product? Correct. So how do we, from Zoho, you're in Zoho.com one page yet?
Yes.
Can you show the main page where if I don't know CRM or campaign or words like that, from a different world, how do I go to Zoho.com? What have we done to help people who have no clue, but all they know is they have to adopt technology?
I'm so sorry. I'm trying to take you this.
Take your time. Take
It
your time.
keeps taking me back.
No problem.
All right.
Yeah. So scroll down a bit where we have done segmentation in terms of app functions, where I think the audience will be able to relate to us more, right?
So if you look at the applications, so this is the Zoho.com page, where you can look at the applications that are based on business segment wise. So here are applications that will help you with your sales and marketing. You have the names of the applications along with the logos, and similarly you have this for email and collaboration. You have this for finance, HR. Let's say you want IT and help desk, you have applications that will help you with that. Now, I want to know more about, let's say, Zoho Social under the sales and marketing application. All I do is just click on that. So it takes you directly to the social page. It will tell you what Zoho Social is and how you can use Zoho Social to build your social media presence, how you can use Zoho Social to help you improve your brand value in the market. We have applications to do that. Similarly, you can click on any of these applications here to know more about what it does for you. Like you have the finance bundle here. You can click on Zoho Books. It'll take you directly to the Zoho Books website, where it talks to you about the features. It talks to you about, it has, similar to the Zoho One website, you have webinars to understand how Zoho Books works. You have, complete features of what it is and how it's segmented, so you can understand each of these features. So here at Zoho, we believe in the do-it-yourself module, where we have support teams to help you if you don't find the answers on our website. Our websites are created in such a way that we wouldn't want our customers to get lost. Now, if you still don't find your answers there, you can always write to a support team. You have one support team under Zoho One, which is support@zoho1.com. If you write to this email address, you'll get an answer. If you want to call, they'll call you back and have your answers, your queries fixed. Does that answer your question, Kuppul?
Yes. Actually, that wasn't a question. You know why I had to pose it? Because a lot of people shy away from asking these questions. As adults, somehow we lose the childlike curiosity, and we feel that if we ask those questions, we'll come across as silly. And you and I know there's just no other way to learn technology than to get our hands dirty. Data's not going to break if you're going to do some trial versions. Correct? So
Right.
we look forward to our audience asking more questions. There are people who want to know, based on the startup vertical, how Zoho will be useful. So we want to ask the audience to ask us more questions. All this while that Ronson and Kushmita and I were talking, did it make any sense? Were you able to relate to what we are doing? Do you have any questions that you want to ask us privately? Go ahead, now is the time. The silence is actually very frightening. Am I audible?
You are
audible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any of them want to unmute and ask any questions, or just type it away, please?
Yeah, if participants wish to ask a question via audio, please put it in the chat window. I'll be very happy to unmute you so that you can put your questions directly.
So Zoho has apps of every edition. If you're just starting off, this is very, very equivalent to many of us who walk into a restaurant and we've never tried buffet before. Okay, say till we're a certain age, we're not that hungry where we can eat up all a buffet, correct? So if you're thinking in a restaurant analogy, compare it with what we have in Zoho. If you're very small business, you want only 2 or 3 or 4 apps, you can pick like how you would pick from the menu. I need one soup, one starter, maybe one dessert combination. So in Zoho, you have options to either buy individual apps or buy a bundle of apps that are available as bundles, or the higher end of it that is called the Zoho One. That's the complete buffet of apps. Why I'm answering is someone asked me what's the trial version. Every app that we home grow in Zoho has a trial period of 1 month, anywhere between 1 month to 45 days. And whenever we do a trial version, we allow you to use the most premium edition of our apps, which means in 30 days, you get to see every feature that is available in an app. You might not know how to use or when exactly you will start using these features, but then it's there for a reason. And then after 30 days, we downgrade you to a free version until you make a decision whether you want to buy or not. So this is standard procedure for all apps. So there's one app called Zoho Creator. This app helps you build custom apps. Either you want to build a small app that is not available in the market, but you want to white label it, or you want to sell it as a plugin. Zoho Creator is an app that helps you build app. And then if you want to look at vertical wise questions, I think you can write to us in the email that was shared. If Ronson can go back to that slide where we have our email addresses to write to our team. Or if Ronson or Kushmita can type it once again in the chat, it'll be of use.
Sure.
Ma'am, we have a few questions on the question and answer and also on the chat. So do you want me to take those?
I'm looking at those. Yeah, I'm looking at the Q&A questions that we have.
Yes, and there is one in the chat as well which says, is Zoho into encouraging ideation stage startups for students?
Yes. Okay. So I'll take it one by one, where right now the model that Zoho is working, we're not looking at, say, directly encouraging the students, meaning Zoho is not looking at acquiring any of the startups. We're still in the early stage of branching out into that direction. Whatever apps we have been creating, creating homegrown apps, and in the process of which we've not looked at running a hackathon or an idea pitch day like an event where we've encouraged students. But as a software company, we have been working closely with many colleges and educational institutions, in that way encouraging by giving software for them to say, let not a technology not being there or a technology being very costly, let it not hinder you from following your dreams. In that way, yes, we have been encouraging students. Yeah. Why am I not able to see that chat anymore? Okay.
It is there on the chat window, not in the Q&A section.
Correct. Okay.
Okay, there is another question in the chat which says updating the opening balance of vendor during the middle of the year is difficult.
That is a structural question, that is actually not something that about a financial year. You cannot talk that in a software structure. Understand? Yeah.
Ma'am, if I can request, so what happens is most of the Q&A, if you answer independently, individually to them, most of the participants might not be able to see. So is it okay if we take some of the primary questions again, like just to publicly answer? Would it be fine with you?
Sure, absolutely fine.
Yeah.
I think when I typed answer and I answered, I did not send it privately. I sent it for everyone to see most of the times.
Okay.
Some of the questions are disappearing. I don't know if they're deleting it.
Kupu, I'm answering it. So
awesome.
I guess
that's, Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. Okay, sure, Akshay.
Yeah, ma'am, I also just, quick, curious thing from my end. So because most of the participants here are, from having a good academic background. So they're part of academic incubators or they run the EDC, which is the
Yes.
entrepreneurship development cell. So is
Yes.
there, so what exactly would you advise, in terms of tech adoption to academic institutions or incubators or accelerators as such, or EDCs rather?
Okay, not exactly advice, but if you just think of commonsensical or logical way of how the structures are there. So each of the say innovation cell or the incubation cells that are present inside the learning institutions, be it a college, we have a lot of such places in Chennai as well. One recommendation I have is open the world up to the students first, instead of encouraging. I see many of the colleges opening up entrepreneurial cell only for MBA students. And when I'm invited, for example, before COVID, when I used to be invited to these educational institutions, many a times the MBA students will be asked to display their entrepreneurial skills, right? And we tend to keep forgetting the difference between small businesses and startups. See, startups cannot scale if you think in an angle of a small business. A small business has a certain set of functions to do, where the product or the service that you give is going to be very limited, and you're structured that way. You're set up in a way where either you get a bank loan or you put in a certain capital from your savings, and you remain an entrepreneur for the rest of your life. Entrepreneurship originated from small businesses. Startups structurally are born to live very limited life, right? On a longer term, if you see, many of the startups either don't survive because they do not look at the world, they do not do enough research to see if their idea will be scalable, if their idea will be a one time thing. Instead of doing all of that research, they start off in a hurry, they get funding, and they madly head towards exit, selling off the startup. This is significantly different from how you would want to set up small businesses. So small businesses, we know, are the fundamental backbones of the GDP of any economy, be it state or the entire country. Now, when you introduce this to the students have to first understand that there is this madness in entrepreneurial journey, where they have to do enough research on how the market is. So when you're doing an MBA or pursuing a academic structure, I see that there is still a gap between where the outside world is heading. Either they look at a Silicon Valley example or they look at a very small business example. There is a middle line that we have to look, where you don't have to be an entirely disrupted Silicon Valley startup, or you should not confuse. For example, everyone is looking at doing something in the green revolution. Everyone is pitching towards setting up terrace gardens. Now you have to do enough research to see in Chennai itself, you have 50 different startups that give you the same service. So introduce these challenges to the students. Don't be in any hurry for the students to become founders, co-founders, and then head towards a direction where there's no chance of surviving. This is number one. Where Zoho comes into the picture is, we want to support these students by giving software infrastructure, which is where I was talking about Zoho Creator, where you use these apps to tell the people, don't worry if you don't have coding skills. You tell the students, don't worry if you don't come from a computer science background. Don't worry if you're academically not doing very well. Pick up these apps. We have sandbox methods where you can try hands-on, get your hands dirty, build your own custom apps, do trial and error method from there, participate in hackathons, and then establish yourself as a full-fledged startup people. No, let's not kill their energy very young when they're very young. Let's not kill their ambitions when they're very young. See, for example, look at what CIIC is doing, right? You have several cross-functional capacities that is happening. where you have knowledge experts who are coming and telling you at a very early stage which direction to not even look at. Correct, Akshay? So we don't want the students to be misguided saying, okay, if you're a startup, tomorrow you're going to be multi-millionaire. ROI is only the aim that the students are looking at. I hope I answered the question.
Yes, much in detail, man. So another
Yeah.
thing which I think I feel would be beneficial for everybody, there is Sendil Kumar who asks, among the suite of Zoho One apps, can you name the top 5 which are being used the most by startups?
Absolutely. I think Kushmita will have direct details, but if I remember right, um, most of the times of the 45 plus apps, because you cannot gobble up the entire buffet of apps, early stage startups or startups, most startups use anywhere between 10 to 16 apps on an average. On that 10 apps, we have the chat, the collaborative app where we use chat medium to talk with each other, email, Zoho Mail, because it is ad free, because it is really cool, where there are no ads. We run ad free, totally ad free, where your inbox is not cluttered with social app, a promotion app, and your main inbox. So we have Zoho Mail, we have Click, that is the chat app. Number three, roughly I'm saying a project management app like Zoho Projects. Four, you can have a very basic CRM where customer relationship management is really important. And then there are apps like Zoho Sites to build your own website, Zoho Social to do your social media monitoring of multiple social media from one place. And then we have many startups which use Zoho Sales IQ, which is a website visitor tracking app. So you can track the number of people who visited your website. You can insert live chat on the website and chat with the people who are visiting your website. So these are roughly, in no particular order, the most popular apps that we have. Mostly collaborative and communication apps, and then the basic CRM, and then Zoho Projects. Pushmita, can you pitch in? What are the top 5 apps according to you?
Yes,
I,
Kubu, I have
I am,
already answered that,
no,
Zoho Mails.
I'm
Yeah,
just, I'm just sharing the screen.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is the data that Kushmita had shown us, Kupu, the last time. I mean, this is the data that, so these are the apps that early stage startups pick up. So most, I
Okay.
mean, I hope you can see the screen.
Wonderful.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
So when we took an average of what early stage
that's right.
startups and startups start picking up with the 3,000 plus startups that we're working with, these were the applications that they mostly picked.
So Zoho Books is also there because you,
Yes.
you
Yes,
definitely need
finance.
bookkeeping right from the beginning. Yeah.
Correct.
So almost there, I think.
Yeah, you said everything, Coco, actually.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
okay. So I think all the questions have been answered very elaborately and much in detail. So participants, I will be sharing a short poll which will allow you to rate the session on a scale of 1 to 5 star. Please do take time and rate the session. The poll will be on your screen right now.
And if we have not answered any questions, please write to us. You can find us on social media also. So there is a Zoho for Startups Twitter page that we have, which we want to keep it open for as many conversations possible. Right? So my team and I, we are looking at the startup segment dedicatedly, and we're trying to bring out more vertical based stories. So if you are a agri-tech startup, how can you use Zoho? If you are a biotech startup, fundamentally, what are the apps that you can pick up? So we are coming up with these stories. You can watch out for Ronson and Kushmita talk about this. And with CIIC, this is just one of the first of the many conversations we will have. Tomorrow, when you want to talk about digital marketing or how you would look at search engine optimization, to tomorrow, how you would want to look at hiring, best hiring practices. We'll talk about all of that when it comes to startup, but we want to work on uh, a pull model where you demand and we give you the best of the people who can bring the knowledge to you. So CIIC is working towards that. We're only being the catalyst in this ecosystem. So please send the questions to us if you have not asked any. We'll be happy to answer. So Ronson and Kushmita, anything else that I missed out? Add, please.
I think we've covered most of it, Kupu.
Okay.
I think in the near future, we'll talk a little more about how applications can work for them, business
Okay.
segment wise. So,
Okay. So for this person who is asking us how biotech service sector companies can use Zoho, we recommend that they talk to our concierge team once,
Yes.
because concierge team, that's what they are for, to give you guidance on exactly this area.
Yes. Correct.
So they'll
Yeah.
talk to you over the phone and then give
Yes.
you guidance on the top 5-6 apps that you can pick.
Yes.
So Akshay, do you have any more questions, please?
That's about it, ma'am. I've gone through the chat, so most of the questions in the chat also have been answered.
Okay.
There's one question particular to the books product, so I've asked them to email me directly, and I'll probably connect them with Ronson or Kushmita to take it forth. So
Absolutely.
do that.
it's my pleasure, ma'am. So just like a physical session, we had the complete audience till the end. A very minuscule drop in the number of participants, which shows that the interest in technology adoption, and also a made in India product is being accepted so well. So
Yeah.
thank you so
Thanks
much.
to them. Thanks to them too. On a Monday evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Thank
Of
you.
course. So thanks, Ronson. Thanks, Kushmita, and
Thank you.
thanks,
Akshay.
Kuppulakshmi. That was a great
Thank
session.
you.
So
Thanks,
I hope,
Akshay.
yes, ma'am, it was our pleasure to having you on the webinar today. So as usual, we'll further see how well we can together support the startup ecosystem and
Yes.
take it forth. Yeah, thank you so much, participants. I hope you've been able to rate the session. Yeah, majority of the participants have also rated the session. So thanks everyone. We covered all the questions. So I'll just end the webinar then.
Yes, please.